Hello Internet, my name is Ryan Ingram, and today I wanted to show you a project that I just purchased and I'm super pumped about it. So I purchased this from a friend of mine. He is an investor. He's got around 90 units and this unit caught on fire. He did not want to mess with it. He just wanted to take the insurance money and be done with it. So this is not a property that I insure. He's not one of my clients, but nonetheless I was able to benefit from this transaction and I'm super pumped about it. So the purchase price is $10,000 and there are about 97 pictures of this property, and I really wanted to kind of video document this entire journey, so I took way too many pictures up front. So I'm actually going to make myself very small, put me in the corner, and have the pictures play in the background. And I'm even going to watch this slideshow along with you. So this is the exterior of the home, and as you can see, it's a really big house. This is actually a 5-bedroom, 2-bath house. The bottom is brick and the top is frame, but this was built in the mid-90s. So truthfully, the brick is brick on frame. It's not like a solid brick. You could see that the fire went into the living room as well, but I think the drywall in some areas, as you can see, I'm really looking forward to diving in how much I actually have to replace. But at the bottom, it looks okay. At the top, obviously there's a lot of smoke damage, but I've been talking to a bunch of people that do like the remediation, and just because there's smoke damage on the drywall doesn't necessarily mean you need to replace it. However, I will not be taking any shortcuts. And this is where it gets really bad. Obviously it was a kitchen fire, so this is where the kitchen fire started. You can see the ceiling fan just super droopy. And all of this stuff on the inside is abandoned. She got all of the things that she wanted to take with her. And the bathroom actually took a lot of damage as well. So at least one bathroom is going to have to be replaced. The good news about this is on the entire first floor, even this first floor bedroom, there's ceramic tile throughout. And the ceramic tile really did a good job. It really did its job and it really withstood. I even went through and looked at the ceramic tile at the base of the stove, and it's all pretty good. None of it is cracked, none of it seems to be really damaged, so hopefully it doesn't retain too much of that smoke smell and we don't have to replace all of it. Now, the upstairs is where 4 of the 5 bedrooms are, and as you can see, the walls are really dirty. I honestly can't tell how much of this was from the smoke and how much it was just from the way that someone lived in that house. I don't know, but I'm optimistic and I'm hoping that the upstairs can be cleaned up. Now this is back to the downstairs again, and I talked to a contractor and he told me if the drywall was gaitered at all, then it would have to be replaced. And he said gaitered, I guess that's how the scales look. So I tried to take pictures of all the imperfections on the drywall to try to figure out how much we were actually going to have to replace and what we could get away with keeping. And again, I want to point out, we've got a number in mind on how much we're going to budget for this project. We're not going to cut any corners. I'm totally okay putting more into the property, even though the property is worth, to get it back up to its condition, because we're going to go over the numbers of this property and you will make sense as to why I said that. The electric is currently off, so I talked to my electrician and he told me what to look for on the outlets to see if the electric wiring behind it was actually salvageable or if we needed to rewire the whole house. Fortunately, the majority of the outlets are good, and even in the parts of the kitchen where the wiring took the most amount of heat, it still looks to be pretty solid. And this house doesn't have central air. It only has the electric baseboard heating. Since we're going to have to replace a good amount of the drywall, we are debating on whether or not we want to go ahead and put in ductwork as well. And this is the laundry room. It also took an immense amount of damage. So we're going to have to, and this is where I would throw in the furnace if we were to add one. Just because there's so much room there, and also because we have to replace the majority of this drywall anywho. So you can kind of see from that last picture, you might have to go back and pause it, but there was where the fire department tore down some of the drywall. The wiring behind it was still good. It wasn't like melted or anything. And this is the garage and the electric panel. So it's an older electric panel, but I was really impressed at the way that looked, because I have never purchased a home that only had electric baseboard heating in it, so I was wondering what the breaker would look like and just the sheer number of wires that were necessary. But honestly, this house looks pretty good, and I just thought that ceiling fan was so funny, so I had to go back and take another picture of it. And I also wanted to get a close-up of the drywall above the kitchen to see if it had gatered, but a lot of bubbling happened, and then of course a lot of windows were broken out. I'm not sure if that was because of the heat or eager people with axes. I said that out of jest, and there's my son. I love the fire department. You guys do a great job, especially at damaging homes. I'm just kidding. I was in law enforcement. I have a healthy rivalry and smack talking. Oh, this is a fun video. I honestly thought I was taking a picture. And my son was complaining about the bugs, because since they didn't clean out anything in the kitchen, there's tons of bugs living in that kitchen at the moment, eating all the leftovers on the pots and pans. So it's a really nice house. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great project. Okay, we've seen just about all we need to see, so I'm going to stop doing that. All right, so now that you've seen the pictures, and I hope you're getting as excited as I am, let's talk about these numbers. So the purchase price on this property, 5 bedrooms, 2 baths, a whopping $10,000. Okay, so with a $10,000 purchase price, we are not going to be doing any financing immediately. We're going to pay for the purchase price and all of the repairs out of our pocket, and then after we finish it, we are going to refinance it. So this is going to be a really smooth transition, and it's going to be pretty cheap on our end. We debated on financing all of it up front, but ultimately we decided against it. So the amount that we have budgeted, you've seen the damage, and here in Ohio, our labor and materials might be a little bit cheaper than elsewhere. So I think we can get all of this done for just under $50,000, and that $50,000 does include the furnace, the AC, and at the addition of all of the ductwork if we choose to do that. Now, this is an area that I am unfamiliar with. As I've mentioned on this channel several times, the majority of my properties are within a mile of each other, and there's one particular quadrant of one particular zip code that I really target. This is not in that. This is in an area that's about 20 to 25 minutes away from where I normally invest, but that's okay because I think this is a really killer deal. So I'm not as quick at the ARVs because I don't study this area a lot. However, one of my good friends solely invests in this area, and he said the absolute minimum that this house would be worth is around 80. Realistically, and rehabbed well, it would most likely be around 100. But for this scenario, we're just gonna put 80 grand. Now, the good news is, and we're going to go over the potential income and the potential expenses of this property, but we can already see that this is a $20,000 swing in equity. So if we were to spend every dime of $50,000, we would still have $20,000 worth of equity that we walk into. Now, I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to not spend $50,000. And because of just how horrible the property looks and because of how nice this camera is, I would really like to kind of video document this entire property, because this is going to be one of the more fun and polarizing things that we've done as far as rehabs go. Now, I am currently wrapping up a rehab that we did where when we first started, there were 13 full-size dog cages inside of that property. Unfortunately, I didn't have this camera or even the foresight that I was going to have a YouTube channel, so I didn't take nearly as many pictures or videos as I would have liked to, but that one is probably the worst property that we've ever rehabbed. Nonetheless, I love this. I love rehabbing properties so much, specifically for the phenomenal before and after photos. I really like taking things that people have kind of given up on or think that they need to be torn down instead and just breathing new life into them. I think that is one of the coolest things in the world. Now, let's talk about the income. Because this property is so large, it's 5 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, then especially if you give it over to like the Section 8 or even just, on the normal market, the rent for this property should be right around $1,200 per month. Now the taxes on this property they're about $800 per year or $66 a month, but let's go ahead and call it $70 a month. And the insurance on this property is ultimately going to be the same, especially while we get it rented out. But while we are rehabbing it, we can't have a normal insurance policy. It's not going to be a normal dwelling fire or landlord policy. It's going to be what's called a vacant policy, which is generally around 2 to 3 times more expensive than if we were to just have a normal policy. So the normal policy is going to be about $50 per month. And now it's about $100 per month. But because we're going for when it's rented out, we're just going to go ahead and put the $50 a month. The property management fee, again, even though my brother and I are going to do it, we're going to charge ourselves 10%. So the property management fee, $120. And let's whip out this really fun loan calculator, and let's go ahead and assume that we refinance this at 75% of 80,000. So that is 60 grand. So we're going to pull out 100% of our money potentially, maybe even more, but let's just go ahead and do 60,000. So in the loan calculator, $60,000 over 20 years at 5%. Conservative numbers for a traditional loan or a commercial loan. So that's going to be $395.97 per month. So let's just call that $400. So all of these total is going to be $640. And if we subtract this from our income, then we have $1,200 minus $640, which is $560. So when this project is complete, if everything goes as according to plan, which it probably won't, but tentatively it's going to add $560 per month to our cash flow, and our total out of pocket will be $0. Again, that's best case scenario because we pull out $60,000 as we do a commercial loan over 20 years at 5% would be $400 a month. So hopefully we can truly get all of our money back and it will appraise for 80 grand, but I have a sneaky suspicion that it's going to cost less and appraise for more. But hey, I'm an optimist. I could be completely wrong. So thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to just show you guys progress as this goes along. And I think I'm so hyped up about this that I'm going to actually make a full playlist for this one property. So thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Thanks.